Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope life is treating you well. Today we are returning to Night Vale in our 16th episode, and it is titled The Phone Call. Let's see what our boy Cecil has for us.
Your existence is not impossible, but it's also not very likely. Welcome to Night Vale.
Yeah, the usual shtick of talking through the opening music just to make the copyright algorithm happy with me. I did have to redo yesterday's, or the 5th's,
In light of the ever-declining sales of newspapers and the rise of competition from digital media, the Night Vale Daily Journal announced that it has developed a new business model. Publishing editor Leanne Hart, speaking to television,
yeah, let's see what Miss Hart has to say.
And internet reporters outside the burned-down shell of the journal's former distribution plant, said their new mission as a newspaper is to kill news bloggers with hatchets.
That's a good way of beating your competition, I guess. Yeah. I mean, mind you, earlier, one of the earlier episodes, they went to the imaginative issues. So now, yeah, I guess killing your competition with hatchets is, you know, it works for a while anyhow.
In this bold new initiative, a game-changing strategy by one of the industry stalwarts, the Daily Journal plans to just go to bloggers' homes and places of employment with hatchets and then chop them up.
Simple enough. Simple enough.
The bloggers. Until they, the bloggers, are dead.
Sounds like a fairly simple plan that just about anybody can follow.
She added that the journal still plans to use the AP Style Guide, and they are working to design a newer, more modern-looking masthead. Several journal reporters and ad reps then began swinging blades at the non-print reporters in attendance.
You know, I guess that gets your point across pretty rapidly.
The Sheriff's Secret Police is issuing an urgent message to all citizens. Attention, all citizens. Memorize this list. Memorize it now.
Well, hopefully it's not too long of a list.
It will not now nor ever be repeated. Memorize this list for your safety and protection.
Yep, that's, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
We cannot tell you when or where you will need to know it, but when you do, you will be safe. Here is the list.
And I am looking forward to seeing what is on our list that we need to memorize.
Memorize. Now. Hazelnut. Mystify. Cuttlefish. Lark. Lurk. Robert. Anglican. Pheromone, halter top, marmalade, hardware, laser, pepper, release, kneecap, falafel, period, chase, chaste, leggings, wool, sweater, heartbeat, heartbeat, heart, beat, heart, beat, 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 beat.
Well, that would be easier if in Night Vale that you're allowed to have pens and pencils. You could write it down to memorize it. But in Night Vale, we're not allowed to have pens and pencils. Or I don't think even paper.
Beat. Memorize that list, citizens, in order. Secret police warn that if you miss even one word or transpose a couple of words like lurk and lark, there could be unpleasant consequences.
And the sheriff's secret police, know what they're talking about and probably have somebody's best interest in mind.
This has been a special announcement from the sheriff's secret police. Listeners, guess who called me this weekend? Well, hey, I don't like to talk too much about my personal life
But we are.
here. This is your community news station, not Cecil's personal life station, right? Okay, fine. I'll just say it. Carlos! Carlos, the dark, delicate-skinned scientist who came into our little town and our littler hearts several months ago.
I like that, the little town and even littler hearts. I like that.
Well, I gave him my home phone number quite a while back, and he never called. And I didn't think anything of it, right? I mean, sometimes people just don't call, and that's okay. Well, to the point. Carlos calls, and I'm like, hello? Like, I don't even have caller ID, and he's like, I need to talk to you. This is important.
I think this particular phone call, I think Carlos and Cecil may be on two different wavelengths here.
And I'm like, okay. I mean, that's pretty forward, right, listeners?
And Carlos has de-evolved, not Carlos, our boy Cecil has de-evolved to a 13-year-old girl.
But I can't tell exactly what he wants yet. And he said, Cecil. Just the sound of his caramel voice. Cecil. He says, Cecil. I think time is slowing down in Night Vale. And then I said, after a slow sip of Armagnac, oh?
Yeah, Cecil is definitely turning into a 13-year-old girl for this.
And Perfect Carlos said, last week, 7 days, 24 hours each day, 60 minutes in each hour. That's 10,080 minutes in a week, right?
I guess.
Uh-huh. Go on, I said, trying to sound like someone with a normal pulse whose palms were not sweating.
And was not a 13-year-old girl.
Well, I ran some figures, and during that same amount of time in Night Vale, 11,783 minutes elapsed everywhere else in the world. That's more than a full day longer. I don't know what's happening.
The time stream's not the only crazy thing in Night Vale, but it is what it is.
So that's what Carlos said. Listeners, what do you think? I feel like time always slows down when we're together, Carlos and I. Is that what he's trying to say?
I don't think so.
I feel that way too. But I didn't say that. I just said, oh, this is bad. I just said, neat. Oh, how embarrassing. I mean, Carlos is so smart, and he says so many smart things.
Well, he's a scientist, and you're a I guess technically he's not a DJ because he's not spinning tunes. You're a news reporter, radio host. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But let's return to Cecil, who's de-evolved into a 13-year-old girl.
And I'm not dumb. I like science and municipally approved books just as much as the next guy, so I can't...
I like how he throws in that municipally approved books, you know. Kind of has feelings of Florida in it.
Believe that's all I could say to him. Neat. But I did manage to ask if he wanted to get together sometime and talk some more about this really fascinating subject. He said no, but he needed me to help get the word out and see if anyone has noticed a massive time shift.
And depending on how long you've lived in Nightville, you may or may not notice it.
So that's what I'm doing now. Anything for the scientific community. I'm very into science these days.
And Carlos, or he wants to be into Carlos, is what that is. And he wants Carlos to be into him. So, you know, it is what it is. It's a good thing.
Wow. Can you believe he called me? Update on the impending invasion from the underground city.
You know, that's one of the things I love about this. It has that episodic. You have your episodic story in each episode, but you always have these canonic references that, you know, you go back to other episodes. It just makes this podcast that much more, you know, good or gooder. I like gooder. Gooder's not a word, but I like gooder. Or goodest. Goodest.
The Sheriff's Secret Police has reviewed Teddy Williams' grainy security footage from the Desert Flower Bowling Alley and Arcade Fun Complex. And they say that the nearly indiscernible gray blotch making a slight movement near the cheese dispenser definitely proves that a lost city is moving toward war with Night Vale.
Okay.
A balaclava-clad man wearing a mitre, cloak, and a giant silver star and speaking through a vocoder, you know, the man we all believe to be the sheriff of Night Vale, announced this morning that all citizens should prepare their town for war.
Of course. You know, those cities that live under your bowling alleys, you know, gotta watch out for them.
This includes fortifying porches with sandbags, training children to detect landmines, and not taking off our gas masks for meals.
Okay.
Even though it is considered polite. We talked with Teddy himself. He told us that during last night's league bowling tournament, the jukebox malfunctioned and would not stop playing Mr. Brownstone.
That's actually a good song, to be honest with you. I mean, there are worse songs that get stuck on a loop.
Teddy says this could be a code, some kind of threatening message, or maybe even a subtle call for peace. He also asked that Night Vale citizens learn their shoe sizes. Shoe rentals are taking way too long.
Yes. What's funny, there's a bowling alley in Conroe, which is just south of Huntsville, on I-45. For those not familiar with Texas, it's a decent enough bowling alley, and they got a pretty good bar. But there's been a couple times I've went down there, and the people have no clue what they don't understand that whatever your shoe size is for your shoe size, kind of ran those words together, for your whatever you wear, is going to be, might be spun on, might be a little bit, you know, might be a half size smaller, might be a half size bigger, you know, but so they're just randomly throwing numbers at it. I mean, stuff like that can be kind of confusing, and when you hear it in something like this, it just kind of rings home.
and it's really not that hard to memorize a 1 or 2-digit number.
And he's right about that.
The Sheriff's Secret Police also asks Night Vale residents to please help in their Neighborhood Watch program. Secret Police are in every neighborhood, watching everybody.
Yeah, something right out of Orwell's 1984 or the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025.
So here are some tips on how you can help this invaluable community surveillance program. 1. Keep all windows open during clement weather. And if you must close them during rain, dust, or coal storms, please keep them clean and stand near them so cameras and microphones can clearly identify you.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it comes straight out of the one presidential campaign called Agenda 47 to me.
2. When having any private conversation, whether via phone or with those in your home, turn down the TV and radio to cut back on noise pollution. Also, please try to keep your conversations lively. Maybe some local gossip or polarizing sports opinions. Too much boring talk about plans for your garden or where to buy good laser discs can make the secret police tired and less effective at their job.
Laser discs are really cool. Back in the day, good friend of mine, and actually he still has a considerable collection of things on Laserdisc, and before the whole 4K, 8K, or 16K, or whatever K we're at now, was a thing. This is VHS, days of VHS, 90s. He had the Laserdisc, and this was just primo. When he'd have things, he'd invite people over, we'd watch movies and stuff like that on Laserdisc. It was just awesome.
3. Do not wear tinfoil hats. This hackneyed technique doesn't work at all. Helicopters could mind scan you through 20 feet of lead. You shouldn't wear these homemade hats because it draws unnecessary attention to yourself.
And Daddy's definitely right.
It's pathetic and paranoid. The secret police are embarrassed for you.
I imagine they are.
And as always, if you see something, say something. That's the code word to call a special raid on a neighbor or stranger.
You got to remember that.
If you see something, say the word something. Now, in the news. After several months of protests from ordinary Night Vale citizens of stout and sturdy character, the City Council has announced several improvements for the public library.
Cool. But not cool because I think we've touched on the Night Vale Public Library, just touched on it. I don't think we've actually got real detailed into it. I know in later seasons, I can't remember the details, we get more into the public library, but the public library stuff can get crazy.
These improvements are the following. An entrance is being constructed at the front of the building, so we will no longer have to enter by waking up between two shelves in a dizzy haze.
That's a plus.
Unsure of how we got there, and then wandering around, trapped, until we wake with a start in our own beds, covered in sweat, and with a few books we checked out.
Yeah. The thing is my goddaughter is a librarian in San Angelo, and a very damn good one at that. She's got her own like office and all kinds of really crazy stuff. I've been out to visit her, and I just wonder what her opinion of the Night Vale. I need to get a hold of her and see if she listens to this. And if she doesn't, try to dig through and find episodes that involve the library to recommend to her, because I'd love to get her as a librarian, get her viewpoints on that.
On our nightstand. Drinking fountains are being installed in the lobby, as well as dunking chambers and a state-of-the-art fainting pool.
Yeah, you gotta have all of those in a good library.
Librarian repellent dispensers are being placed throughout the building. Remember,
Well, I don't think my goddaughter would be really into the librarian repellent stuff.
if approached by a librarian, keep still. Do not run away. Try to make yourself bigger than the librarian.
Yep. Like I said, I really would love to get her views on the Night Vale Library.
Finally, the children's section is getting beanbag chairs. That is all. Is it?
What?
Yes. But is it? Yes. And now, traffic.
All right, traffic. We haven't had the in-universe ads yet. So yeah, that should be coming up.
All roads lead to somewhere, and all roads come from somewhere.
You know, that is a very astute observation.
And in between they are a snarl and curve, a twist and a bend. Where are we going? I mean, metaphorically.
Of course, metaphorically.
Where are we coming from? I mean, literally. Is it possible to stop or turn around? And if not, what does that mean for the latest polls and economic reports?
You know, that's an interesting question.
Ladies and gentlemen, Route 800 is looking clear in both directions.
That's
the
good.
old dirt road to the small wooden shack is backed up at least 30 minutes.
Uh-oh.
There. Now you know. Has that filled an emptiness for you? Are you any happier now? I hope so.
I
This
am.
has been, and will always be, traffic.
So I wonder when we're going to...
Listeners, I can hardly stand it any longer. During the past few stories, my phone has been silently buzzing.
Silently... See, what and I don't know the ages of the people that listen, that watch this video or this series of video. But for those who are old enough to remember the buttons, the phone, you had the phones that had the either the rotary or the push button. At the bottom, they had a row of buttons for different lines. That's what I think of. You know, he's got a phone like that, probably rotary phone, being Night Vale. And it has that series of buttons at the bottom, and one of them just going me, me, me. But, you know, that's just me.
You guessed who. Given that I am a radio host, and it is therefore my duty to
And 13-year-old girl.
read you the news, It would be completely inappropriate for me to answer my phone regardless of how much I want to soak my ears in the oaky tones of our community's most significant outsider. But, well, he left me some voicemails. This may be a bit unorthodox, but I need your help, dear listeners, to determine where Carlos is going with all of this.
Yep. The mere mention of Carlos and Cecil becomes a 13-year-old girl with the hots.
Let's listen to these together, okay? What do you think he's trying to say?
First saved message.
Cecil, sorry to bother you. I need you to get the word out that clocks in Night Vale are not real. I have not found a single real clock. I have disassembled several watches and clocks this week, and all of them are hollow inside. No gears, no crystal, no battery or power source. Some of them actually contain a gelatinous gray lump that...
Gelatinous gray lumps can be kind of suspicious.
Seems to be growing hair and teeth. I need to know if all clocks are this way, Cecil. This is There's something at my door, Cecil. I need to go, okay? I'll call you back in... Well, I don't know.
End of message.
Yeah, I don't think Cecil is thinking with his brain. Let's just say his brain or the head upon his shoulders at this point.
Next message.
There's a man in a jacket holding a leather suitcase outside my doors.
I wonder if it's a deerskin suitcase.
Cecil, he's not knocking. He's just standing in front of my door. I can't make out his face. I'm peering through a crack in the living room blinds. Oh no, he saw me.
End of message. Next message.
Sorry about that, Cecil. I forget what I was doing. I think somebody came over, but I don't remember who.
Yep, man in the tan coat. See, and I said this earlier in this video, it's these callbacks and these, that make it episodic and canonical all at the same time. You have your story of the week, or your story of the episode. I can't remember if these are, I think these are released once every 2 weeks, but, and you have these callbacks which make it canonical. It's kind of groovy, kind of cool.
Who or what for? Anyway, I need to meet you. Are you free tomorrow afternoon? You have a contact number for the mayor and someone with the police, right? It's important that I find them. And again, can you get the word out on your radio show about the clocks?
I think Carlos is worried about time and the clocks, and I don't think Cecil is, like I said, thinking with the head upon his shoulders.
End of message.
Did you hear that, listeners? A date! Let's go to the weather.
Okay, it is at this point we will pause because of the good old copyright algorithm that nobody knows how it works. I don't even think YouTube does. I know what it is. It's the copyright algorithm was written by a coder in Night Vale. That's the reason why no one knows how it works. I just put that together. So yeah, we'll pause here. We'll come back after the weather and finish this episode. And we're back. I will do the go and listen to these episodes. Find Night Vale wherever you do podcasts. I have links and suggestions in the description below. And listen to these episodes without my commentary. And listen to the musical interludes for the weather. And possibly go and check out Bandcamp, or it's either Bandcamp or Bandicamp. I can't remember which. And you can find these musical artists and check them out. A lot of them are really good, and it is more than worth it to do this. And let's get back to Night Vale and see how Cecil's doing.
Well, I just got off the phone with Carlos, listeners, and we have a date. Tomorrow afternoon. It's just coffee, but maybe it's more. Maybe lots more.
I know what Cecil's thinking.
Who knows? You know, they always say, if you're trying to meet someone, you may never find them. But it's when you're not looking. That's when they find you.
But if they find you, were they looking for you? Or, I don't know. That whole philosophical spaghetti ball gets weird really quick.
I've always heard this in reference to government agents, but I think it applies to dating as well. Carlos did want me to ask if anyone has ever actually seen the Night Vale clock tower. I told him that it was invisible and always teleporting, and that's why he can't ever see it.
Yeah, I think every town needs an invisible teleporting clock tower, to be honest with you. Just, my personal thoughts.
I mean, that seems sort of obvious. Okay, that was unfair. Carlos is a very smart man, and I shouldn't roll my eyes just because he doesn't comprehend basic architecture. He obviously has a lot of other intriguing interests, though.
And Cecil is hoping that Cecil's one of them.
Like clockmaking and seismology, and who knows what else. Oh, happy day, listeners. Thanks for listening and for helping me through this. I'm so very excited.
Oh, I bet you are, Mr. Cecil.
Before we go, intern Stacy just handed me this. The Sheriff's Secret Police would like to issue a correction to their earlier special alert. In their warning, they stated that memorizing a very specific list would keep you safe. This is incorrect. According to the new statement, quote, "We are not safe. We are all being hunted by time and our own deceitful bodies."
He's got a point. As somebody who's getting up there in age, mind you, I'm only 54 at this point. I'm going to be 55 soon, but I'm not 25, So yeah, it is, there are limitations as you get older.
Memorizing the list will merely prevent additional external pain beyond that which you experience daily just by being alive.
The secret police there got a point.
The Sheriff's Secret Police regret the error.
Oopsie.
End quote. That's it for our news. Stay tuned next for a community-wide frisson of cosmic fright. Thank you again, Night Vale. May you too find love in this dark desert.
This was a good episode. I like it so far. I like revisiting these. It's been a few years since I've been in these early episodes, and it's just kind of cool. Getting to re-experience Cecil Cecil being Cecil,
May it be as permanent as the blinking lights and as comforting as the dull roar of space. Good night, Night Vale. Good night.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. Watching or listening to, I shouldn't say watching, listening to Cecil getting all gushy and mushy about Carlos is kind of, yeah, I forgot how hilarious that is. Though it does remind me of when I was in my late teens, my first wife, when we started dating and stuff, being, that awkward, and even with my current wife, when we started dating, going through that awkward, are we not, are we, aren't we, are we, okay, we are, how do we finding our places. So, with all that being said, be good, have fun, be safe, be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.